Hello friends, welcome back to day 2 of Vlogmas. I hope your day is treating you well. I am back and we got an advent calendar. I got this one online. It's like a tea one and I'm really excited about it. This is like a green tea almond pistachio and it was really, really good. Also, it was packaged in cotton, which is great news for me because I have a little bit of microplastic anxiety. I'm not going to lie. It's not a perfect process, the anxiety, but it's there. So I am doing my monthly planning today, and I'm really just focusing for this video on the work that I'm doing in my bullet journal. But for reference, I also do things in Notion and mainly I do other things in Notion and in my calendar on my computer, planning content, things like that. What you see here is a Hibby match. It's like a little incense match. I love them. They have like a little thing that you can use, like you see there, the little mat where you can let it burn. But one day I was taking a bath and I didn't have that mat with me. And so I set it on the lid and clearly that did not work. It burnt right through. But that's okay. It worked out. So we're at the beginning of a new month, but we're also at the beginning of a new quarter. And for me and my bullet journal journey, we're at the end of a year because I do seasonal. So that's crazy. We're wrapping up a lot of things. This is my book log from the fall or kind of the rest of the year. I'm just going through and highlighting my favorite books for the last couple months. And then I close out my bullet journals with like a little bit of a ritual. So I like to tape with washi tape the pages that I might want to refer back to, like things like my book log. And then I title the front cover with a label maker for whatever season that journal was from. So typically each journal for me lasts about 3 months. For the last year, I've been using these soft cover moleskin journals, and I did not like them at first, and then they grew on me and became my new normal. And so as we go into winter 2023-2024, I am a little bit sad to see them go. I did a whole year with them, but I am ready to move on, or at least I'd like a little bit of a change. And so I ordered a different kind of journal from Amazon. This one was like leather bound. It had a little pen holder, which I was looking forward to. And it has a table of contents, which I'm going to use as my book log. And I'm looking forward to this like new style. And I kind of like having a different style every year so I can kind of see the years together. I have so many journals from my childhood. I think I started when I was 9 years old, and I have those journals all the way up to where we are now. I'm 37. So it's a lot of years. And I like the idea of being able to catalog them that way. We're starting a little late, but I don't think we're anywhere close to stopping journaling anytime soon. So better late than never. This is a little stamp that Opie gave me one year in my Christmas stocking. It says the Library of Sarah Jane. And I use it to stamp all of my journals when I first start a new one. I was going to sit down and transcribe my entire book log here because I wanted to have, this is a little bit confusing because technically I'm starting a new year, but it's not a new year, right? So with reading, I don't do reading on the same schedule as I do my bullet journals. So that was a little tricky. But I decided, you know what, for the winter, I'm just going to keep the whole year in here. I was going to transcribe all of it, and I was like, that's a waste of all of our time on camera. So I did that off camera later. But that's what my first few pages are going to be, are just my book log. I like to write down the dates that I was reading that book. It shows me kind of how long the book took to read, and then the title, and then my rating, and then I typically highlight what my favorite book was. That's about it. So yeah, like I said, we're starting a new season, which means a new bullet journal, which means I do winter as December, January, and February. And so that's what this journal will be. And I'm just kind of creating my opening title page for the season. So this is like my winter title page. And post this title page will be all of my reflections for the quarter. So everything I'm thinking about, processing, working through as I enter into a new season. I ended up hating this title page. I just don't think it was very cute. I had like a vision of it being kind of like Nordic, but it didn't pan out the way that I thought it would. And sometimes it's just like that. And sometimes it bothers me enough that I'll collage over it, or I'll tape 2 pages together and just give it another go. But this time I just left it. I think it's fine. It's not the end of the world. And that page that you just saw me title really simply was my vision page. So on that page, I'll journal through the kind of a future journal post for what I hope the month or the season will look like. And then the page you're seeing now are my goals for the month. So this is where I'll write down like my top 5 objectives for the month of each quarter. And this is probably going to be a pretty light season in terms of goals, because I'm really planning to just open my coaching program up for the next 3 months, continue podcasting, and then kind of let that be enough for right now. And then until I figure out what I want to come next. So it's probably gonna be pretty light. But the next page I have here is my ideal day and my ideal week. I typically will write down what an ideal day looks like for me from like hour to hour by the time I wake up until the time I go to sleep. I didn't have enough room to write all of the hours. I should have like done those first, but you live and you learn. I pretty much know what I'm going to do from 7 until bed, which is not very much. And then I do my week, and I do the same thing, like what tasks or what kind of focuses am I going to have each day of the week. You'll see that I have like an entire other area in which I'm looking at that too for the month. And it may be a little bit redundant, but I do think of it differently, and I'll try to explain that. So my ideal week, what I'm really looking at is like if my week were really balanced and I felt like I had the time that I needed, what would that look like? And then I'll explain to you in just a bit what I'm thinking in terms of the next round of that and kind of what I'm processing there. Right here, what you see me doing is kind of creating a title page for active projects. I am constantly doing way too many things and having my hands in way too many buckets. And sometimes I overdo what is not paying me because of like opportunities or FOMO or something. And I just need to keep an eye on that. And so that is something that I do there. And then the next page is my card pull. So I do a seasonal card pull. I use the deck from Chrissy Bentley. She has a chakra deck, and I pull one for each of my chakras. And I really love that as a touch point each season. So very cool. Also, Chrissy is doing Vlogmas if you're looking for more kind of cozy hobby type Vlogmases to follow. She's very cozy as well. The next page that I am doing, I have to wait to see what I'm writing to know actually. I believe is my my winter bucket list page. I am going to use this page to just keep track of like fun activities that I could do in the winter season. I also have this like cute little washi tape that I got from my friend Tyler and Eric's. They have a stationery store called Paper and Pencil in Andersonville in Chicago. And I bought these thinking they were like the labels that I use to tack pages in books and things if I'm annotating, but they were little washi tape stickers. And so I'm using those just to fancy things up a little bit because I'm keeping everything else pretty simple. I'm also using primarily this green pen that I also got from their store. So that is what I'm using for most of the text. And then I'm just trying to draw a Christmas tree here. I kind of liked the way this turned out. It was imperfect at best. And I kind of wanted it to look organic, like not perfect, but I think I went a little hard on the imperfect part. But all that to say, this is the title page for December. I like to mark off little sections like that, I just find it makes it easier to reference everything and know where I am and what I'm looking at. Plus, I just think it's fun. It's like artistic to have like a little doodle moment. I think in best case scenario, I would not do all of this at one time. That's what I typically do. But I think there's something to drawing a bunch all at once that makes it hard to feel like you're being really creative. So there's something to think about there. Maybe it would be worth charting this out a little bit, starting a little bit sooner, doing one page at a time so I can have a lot of fun, really taking my time on each page. Because as it stands, like I said, I'm not doing that. I am like rushing through the process every single time, trying to get all the pages created for myself to fill out the next day. And yeah, I think that takes a little bit of it feels romantic every single time. I think I'm going to block off several hours. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to make my tea. I'm going to light my incense. It's going to be a vibe. And that's true. Like it is a vibe, but I don't feel like I have the time or the patience to really go hard on a spread because I love to draw. I love to doodle. I'm not like really good at it, but I find it really fun and relaxing. And taking the time to really enjoy that process, I think would be really fun. So maybe I'll do that for the month of January. I'll have more sessions and kind of see how that turns out. But that is my December cover page. And then we kind of move in to my monthly reflection from here. This is a weird time, right? When you're at a new quarter, if you're someone who plans like I do, which is yearly, quarterly, monthly, weekly, and daily, like I love to have these little checkpoints. A quarter is like you're doing it all at once, right? You have your quarterly planning, your monthly planning, your weekly planning, your daily planning all at the same time. And as someone who really enjoys the process of planning, that feels great. But it can be a lot, it's a lot of reflecting, a lot of thinking. It can be hard to not be redundant, but I find it incredibly useful just to have some sort of vision or path, especially as a business owner, knowing which direction I'm taking, when I'm taking it, and why I'm taking it, I find incredibly valuable. So all of that to say, that's what I'm doing. That calendar that you saw me draw, that is where I'm going to be doing my kind of mood tracking. I'm going to write down kind of the main thing that happened that day that like stands out and then color code it by mood. Sometimes I'll do this as little doodles, like daily drawings. This time I think I'm just going to do it as like a sentence. And then to the right of that, I have the things I like to do every single month. So I have like certain kinds of days I like to do at least once a month, and I'll tell you what those are. Time alone with the kiddo, just like a bonding activity, a date with my husband, a date with myself, an unplugged day where I'm not on social media, dealing with my desk papers, like a day where I just kind of make sure all of the papers in my desk are tended to. I like to learn something new every month. And then this month I added work from a coffee shop because I ended my co-work space, but I am an extrovert. So I need to make sure I'm not just accidentally at home all the time because my home is very cozy and very comfortable, and I love to do things here. I've gotten really good at being home in this stage of my life. And at the same time, I am very much an extrovert who gets most of her happiness and energy from being around other people. So I want to make sure I'm prioritizing that at least a little, So my reflection page here for the month of December. So the left side is my reflection, kind of looking back at November. And then my right side is planning for December. So I'll tell you what I have. So I'm doing my highlights, my top 3, my challenges, things I started, things I stopped, my money I do in and out in balance, and then things I embraced. And then I write down the books that I read for that month and things I learned, kind of like my major overarching lesson. And then for the December plan, I wrote 3 books I want to read, my big 3, like my big top 3 things that need to get done. My values, I like to think about what values do I want to live into this month, things I want to make, things that I will enjoy, and then to the right there is at a glance, where I just write down any major meetings or things like that. I have some weeks that I'm trying to work very, very lightly. Ideally, I would be taking them off, but I know that may not be incredibly feasible right now. But I would like to mark those off as just places to not schedule meetings and add a ton of things onto my plate. So that is what you see me doing over here to the right. It's just kind of writing down the dates. I like this format because I think they call it a running log or something like that. Like the way that it is, you're just kind of dating 1 through 31. Yeah, I like that format. It helps me to kind of get a vision of how many days are already allocated to something. December is not going to be super crazy. We have the holidays. People are not scheduling a ton of stuff. But in general, like if I have accidentally already booked myself out, it's nice to see. This next 2 pages, I have a task dump on the left-hand side, which is exactly as it sounds. I write down every single thing that I do. I do this pretty often, usually monthly, if not monthly, quarterly. I write down every single task that I'm doing to run my business. And then to the right, I'm writing down weekly themes. So that's the second area in which weekly planning is coming into play. So I'm going to take all of those tasks that I'm seeing and trying to group them together to make them make efficient sense. My job changes constantly, like my priorities and what I'm focused on and what I'm kind of agreed to or committed to is constantly in flux. So this task dump is really important that I'm staying on track with where am I actually spending my time? What am I actually spending my energy and effort in? And then making those decisions to make sure that I'm organizing those tasks in a way that is functional for me throughout the week, because it can be really easy to let your business run your life instead of the other way around. And this is one of the ways in which I make a focus to choose how my business looks and how I fit into my business. And different seasons, I might look at, do I want to outsource some of these tasks? Do I want to eliminate some of these tasks? And it's real helpful to look at it through that lens. Seeing it all together makes it pretty eye-opening, all of the things that you're doing, right? So the other major thing here is I like to group like tasks together. There's a theory that you lose about 20 minutes every time you switch contexts. And so the more that you can group like tasks together, the easier it can be to make the most of your time, not lose a bunch of time throughout the day. And that's why I'm doing that project, or why I'm kind of organizing it in that direction. But friends, that is about it. I'm just doing my final flip through here. I'm sorry that you can't see it fully filled out. I feel like it's much more beautiful when it is filled out, but I like to keep that information kind of like to myself, But thank you guys so much for planning December with me. I will see you day after tomorrow with the next one. Bye.